All right, guys. Well, welcome into the Calling All Brides podcast. I'm your host, Joe Cirillo, and I'm with
DJ Michael.
All right. Well, guys, we have got another fabulous podcast episode for you today.
I think so. Our Crackerjack team of researchers have done a good job again today. We want to start paying these guys something, man.
I think
at least let them out of the room, get some sunshine or something.
That's right. That's right. So, guys, we are going to talk about what do you do after you put the ring on it.
Run?
Run.
Pray? No, it's all the steps involved. You know, when weddings are, we did a podcast earlier about the average cost, and we're going to talk about in a minute, $28,000 to $35,000. This is a production.
Yeah.
You know, and if we could probably do 2 shows on this. You hire a wedding planner, he or she's going to do most of this for you.
Right.
They're expensive, but they have a very valuable part in what they do. So say you're on a budget and you don't want to hire a wedding director or you can't afford to, we're going to list the steps that we feel from what our research has shown us that you need to do in order to get married.
Yep, exactly. So we're going to start off with first, you got to determine, are you going to get married locally? Or are you going to go somewhere else, like a destination?
Now, what exactly is a destination wedding, your opinion?
In my opinion, there's so many different kinds of destination weddings. I've seen people get married on cruise ships.
Yeah.
So maybe they go to the Bahamas. They take the cruise and go out.
They go out themselves?
No. I mean, the ones that I've actually seen, we love cruising. Yeah. So I've seen several just when we've been on a cruise. And no, I've seen a group of family and friends with them as well.
I did a wedding in Hilton Head, and the couple's from Arkansas. And they flew the immediate family and a few guests and the photographer to Hilton Head for the weekend. Yeah. And they got married.
Yeah. We see a lot. Again, guys, we're in the South.
Yeah.
I mean, we see a lot, like Charleston, destination wedding, Myrtle Beach.
Hilton Head.
Beaufort. Folly Beach. Pawleys Island.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, all kinds of different places.
Saluda.
Saluda, South Carolina.
Get you a cold 40 and a paper bag, and you have a big old wedding down there.
That's right.
Sorry, friends in Saluda.
But no, we've Savannah, other places like that. Of course, you got Florida.
Sure.
We just had one of our good friends got married in Destin.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, beautiful. Talking about that clear, beautiful water.
Those are cool. Honeymoon and wedding all in one.
Yeah, no doubt. But and also, as far as destination weddings, you've got like Mexico, you've got Jamaica, all these kinds of stuff, and they have these all-inclusives.
I got a good story too. I just thought about that. A good friend of mine who was a DJ got married in St. Thomas. And he invited us, and it was probably a wedding party of maybe 20 people. My wife and I went, and my kids actually went. So they get married. Now, here's what you don't think about. So they're in St. Thomas, and they're there a couple of days in advance, and they get married on a cliff overlooking the water. It's beautiful. And they didn't realize how much they were going to be like cab drivers, and they had to do everything for everybody. Yeah. And so on top of planning a wedding, they had to make sure everybody had their hotel, and they were stressed out. So they decided to stay a couple of days after. Mm-hmm. So they're in St. John partying at this place called the Love Shack.
The Love Shack.
The Love Shack. It's a thatched roof. I've been there. A thatched roof bar in a parking lot, 1 bathroom. The coolest place in the world. Love Shack. Look up. It's in Red Hook, St. John, the Love Shack. Guess who's there partying with them that night? Now, we've all gone. We've all gone back home. Yeah. Kenny Chesney and Kid Rock.
Wow.
Back then, Kenny Chesney and Kid Rock were really good friends, and Kenny has a house in St. John. They're in the pictures with them, drinking and partying. Now, how cool. So you never know where you go to a destination wedding, who you may run into.
Yeah, that's insane.
And Kenny picked up the tab, of course.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
That is cool. That's a cool story.
No Shoes Nation, baby.
No Shoes Nation. That's right, man.
Wow. Yeah, that would be awesome. But destination weddings, they're really cool, and they do have packages like you're talking about, that get you the hotel,
the pastor, everything. Yeah.
The photographer, the
flowers, everything.
Yeah, the cake, everything.
So really, if you want to do that, think about it, guys. With the average wedding cost between $28,000 and $35,000, and statistically in 2020, 10% of all weddings were destination. 2021, 20% were destination weddings, and last year 25%. I think that has a lot to do with the rising cost of weddings.
True.
And the fact that these resorts post-COVID now are trying to get people to come back. They're putting these really nice packages together for you. You tie a bow on it. It's done. You write them a check. Everything's done for you.
Man, yeah, no, you bring up some great points. I'm sure.
And I like to travel, so I'm a good DJ, and I'll go with wherever you need me to go.
Right.
I'll go.
I'll help you with the video. We got you covered. But no, it does make sense.
Yeah.
And I can understand that increase in the percentage there because, I mean, they're beautiful. And, and like you said, I mean, I think personally it would be a lot less stressful doing it somewhere like that, and not, again, we talk about, a budget, but we also talk about, a lot of times you have to worry about, who am I going to invite and all that kind of stuff. So if you got this destination wedding, you're only going to have a really small number that's going to be with
and a lot of times what they'll do is they'll do a destination wedding and they'll come back and have a big party. That way there's no cake and stress. I actually did a wedding one time, where the guests thought they were coming to an engagement party, and the couple had snuck off and got married and had it recorded. And so when the couple made their grand entrance to the party, they showed the video of the wedding. Oh. How cool is that I'm DJing and having a party? So yeah, you can go get married somewhere, then come back and just have a big reception.
Yeah. Heck, you could do that if you went to Vegas, right?
Sure you can.
Get married in a little chapel and
have Elvis sing for you?
Heck yeah.
That's right.
There you go. Well, our next point here is we got to set our budget, right?
Yeah, $28,000 to $35,000. And we said in the previous episode.
Michael, think about that for a minute.
What's
the price of a car?
Yeah, for 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah.
And if it's a 5-hour reception at $30,000, that's going to run you $6,000 an hour. Let that sink your little head around that one.
Okay, 4 hour,
5-hour wedding, 5 hours. 5 hours. If it's a $30,000 wedding, that's $6,000 an hour or $100 a minute. So that bridesmaid rambles on about you with the cake and a toast for 13 minutes. That cost you $1,300.
You just got roasted.
You got roasted and taken to the bank.
Wow.
So you gotta be.
What about when the photographer takes you, 2 hours for sunset pictures?
That costs you $20-something thousand. It's just you've got to set a budget, and you've got to get the steps we're going to talk about. They all have to be done. So they all have to work into this budget.
$100 a minute.
A minute.
A minute. 60 seconds.
So the wobble's going to cost you $500. That's how I look at it, right?
Wow.
Whew, I'm not getting paid enough. That's what I'm saying. Jeez.
That is a
minute.
Mind-boggling stat.
Yep, a minute.
And that's the average.
That's average, yeah.
There's weddings that are over $100,000.
Yeah, these are like traditional weddings. We're not talking like Key West or Manhattan or California where it could be double this. I think I read where in Charleston, South Carolina, it starts around $38,000.
Wow.
Because that destination thing gets more. Yeah, so be frugal, and the steps we're going to talk about, just try to work them all in best you can.
That cruise that cost me about
$4,000
is looking a whole lot better.
I'll eat breakfast with Mickey Mouse any day, save some money.
You're not kidding.
Man.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really important. You got to set that budget. You got to figure out where you are, whether, that kind of goes back to that local destination where you're going to fit in there.
How many people can you invite?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So the next thing you're going to do is pick a theme.
Yeah, you have rustic, you have traditional, you have Victorian, you have Gothic. We talked about the weed weddings in another episode. Hopefully that would stay. But yeah, you got to have a theme. Are you getting married in a barn? Right? Or are you getting married in an uptown, all brick exposed, beautiful art gallery building?
Yeah.
The food needs to kind of go with that. And the dress code of there's a lot that goes to this. You need to say, this is what I want, and plan from there. And we've put these in the order of when you should do them as well. Because you can't get to the last thing and pick a theme. It's too late. If you're having cocktail weenies and you're having an upscale, it won't work.
No, you got to do these in orders.
Right.
You got to figure out. Budget's really important, because if you don't have that budget,
it's critical.
How are you going to figure out all the other stuff?
Right. You budget in life, you got to budget a wedding.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. But talking about themes, you've got folks that like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Disney.
I've done Disney weddings. I've done a Star Wars wedding.
Then you have holidays. People.
I did a vampire wedding.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People have Halloween weddings.
Yeah.
Skeleton weddings.
Yeah. No, vampires.
Vampires.
Dude, they all had on black tails. They had on white gloves, and all the lighting in the room was red. This is the creepiest wedding I've ever done in my life. And the guys never took their gloves off.
That's weird.
No, this is creepy. Wow. It was an old mansion in the South too. Yeah, anyway, that's another story. But that was their theme. Creepy was their theme. It was creepy.
Creepy, no doubt. All right, so after you pick the theme, you can't do anything if you don't have the date.
Got to set a date. That is the most, probably next to the budget, the most critical thing. You've got in the South football games. Hey, the venue that you want, they're going to be booked a year in advance.
At least.
If it's a good venue, it's a year in advance. Hey, can we get married there June 12th? No. You can in 2027.
That's right.
Yeah, so you got to set the date when you want to do it.
Yeah, no, the dates are important. Other things to consider. If you've got somebody in your family who, health-wise, that can play. We've seen weddings, have to change dates and things like that because somebody gets sick. So you might want to keep that in the back of your head. just lots of different reasons, that you need to pick a good date. Also, around the, one thing about the date too, Michael, is what day of the week.
Very true. I'm showing my age. Back in the day, it was always a Saturday, always. Now, Friday, Sundays. You get the venue and most vendors at a reduced price if it's not a Saturday. I've done Monday weddings on holidays.
Yeah.
I've done Thursday night weddings. So then again, if your budget is small, if you pick an off night, that dollar goes further.
Exactly.
I love DJing Thursday night weddings. I'll give you a discount because that's the night I sit home watching Netflix.
Sure. Yeah.
I'd rather do a wedding.
Most wedding vendors are going to give you a discount if you do it during the week.
Yeah.
Because that's not the most busy time for them. So no doubt.
There's only one Saturday night in the week.
That's right.
That's the way I look at it. And if that's the venue you want, you got to work around them.
Yeah. There's how many Saturday nights in a year?
52. Last time I checked. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
really, if you throw out Thanksgiving and Christmas and 4th of July, you're down to 49 or so. And then football season, you got to work around football games on Saturday if that's the big thing in your area. So, you got to be respectful of other people's time, too.
Yeah, no doubt. And we have a whole podcast on time of your wedding and respecting time, so you definitely want to check that one out. But next thing we have, after you set the date, is you got to pick the venue.
Yeah. Does anything start till you pick a venue?
Not really. You're not going to be able to send out, RSVPs.
No.
Anything.
And I think all girls have dreamed of one day when I get married, I want to be married here, right? They've all got this picture in their mind. Like I said, there's one Saturday in the week, so you got to pick that venue very, very quickly.
Yeah, no doubt. And like you said, we talked about before, what type of venue do you want?
That's based on your theme. Again,
exactly.
if you want a southern barn type wedding, there's tons of those around. You want the art type gallery, get married at a racetrack if that's a big thing for you. I've done weddings everywhere.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And if you need to save on budget, you can. Heck, how many backyard weddings have we done?
A lot.
So there's so many different venues that can fit again with your budget, can fit with the date. There's so many different things that you can do, to fit your situation.
Sure.
So. Next thing is choosing your wedding party.
Can't choose your parents, but you can choose your friends, right? You got to choose your wedding party, and this gets tough because you can only have so many people up there with you. So you got to pick your maid of honor, or matron of honor, your best man. Who do you want to? Who are your besties to be in your wedding?
Yeah. And
you're gonna hurt some feelings on this one. This one's got to be really thought out well.
It really does, and you're more than likely gonna hurt somebody's feelings.
You probably are. Just get over, be tough skinned. It's okay. What I would do is say, okay, I want 5. And then I pick my 5 besties and let him pick his 5 besties and go with that.
Yeah. And also, again, remember that cost factor. We talked about $100 a minute. So if you've got, 10 bridesmaids, which we have plenty of weddings that we do that there's 10 or more bridesmaids and groomsmen. Remember, that's extra pictures. That's extra money. That's coming.
And they start passing the microphone on the toasting and I want to say a few words. And they pull out their phone and they're just flipping through pages. And, oh my God. That's money.
That's right. Yeah, that's a lot of money.
And nobody cares that you met in kindergarten, by the way. They don't really care. So
No, it's all good. But now you gotta, like you said, you're probably gonna hurt somebody's feeling, and you just have to understand that. You can't have everybody be part of the wedding party.
No, you can't.
So it is what it is, right?
Yeah, it is.
Next thing you want to do is create a wedding website.
This is kind of a new one. Think about it. So you've got, John and Susan's big day. And your guests can go to the website. There's a countdown clock you can get, like a free app that says 39 days and 29 minutes. It's kind of cool. You can have information on the hotels that you've selected. What's there to do in the area? Like here in Columbia, we have the Riverbank Zoo and all kind of fun things like that. Information about the day, the menu, everything. Yeah. So they can, instead of calling you and bugging you, and we've talked about that in a previous episode, sites and attractions. Just fun stuff they can do. Probably going to bring some kids with them. So think about some things for the kids to do, keep them busy. So it's an all-in-one place to have all the information that the guests need. Yeah, no, good point. Some common wedding websites would be the Wedding Wire. Weddingwire.com. You've got the knot.com. Those are two that kind of stick out to me that I see. But no, you made a good point. That wedding I was telling you about down in Destin, Florida, they had one of those wedding websites, and it was really nice. It had everything all laid out for me, all the details, and which is perfect. Links to the hotel. You can go book your room, and when you get to that point too, pick a couple of hotels because you might want to pick some that are kind of inexpensive, some that are kind of nice, and let the guests decide where they want to go. But they click here, boom, there's the hotel. They make the reservations. It's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
You're saving yourself a lot of text and phone calls. Is what you're doing.
Exactly. Good point. Good point. Our next thing is the gift registry.
Yeah, this is a cool one. Now that you talk about, you got a good idea on this one.
Let me just tell you, again, I went to a wedding recently, and I wasn't real sure exactly how. Well, I didn't know much about what to give, and then when I found out, I didn't want to give money. We wanted to give a gift, something physical. And this couple actually had an Amazon registry. And what is really cool about that is that when you pick the gift on Amazon, it actually ships it to their bride and groom's house. So you don't have to take the gift to the wedding.
You don't have to wrap it either.
No, but you can put that, and so that goes back to our wedding website, right? So if I join, Target or Belk or whatever retail establishment, Bed Bath Beyond, all those kind of things, whatever you have in your area, we again are in the South, so we have our different retail establishments that are popular, but you can put all that on the wedding website. And then folks can just go right there and easily click on it, and it takes all the work out.
That's brilliant, actually. Yeah. So there's no excuse not to give a nice gift, is what we're saying.
That's what we're saying.
No, okay.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. But now, guys, you definitely want to get that going. So that way, when you get to our next point, which is sending out your RSVPs, your invites, if you don't have all this information, if you don't have the date, if you don't have the venue, if you don't have the wedding website, if you don't have the gift registry, how are your guests going to know all this information?
You can't. These things have to be done in this order or it won't work.
Exactly. So when we send out our invites, it's really important. How far out do you send wedding invites?
Traditionally in the mail, 8 weeks, email 4 to 6 weeks. But keep in mind in the mail, and the mail's old school, and people like getting that wedding invite in the mail. Stamps just went up to 63 cents a piece.
Wow.
And you got to have a self-addressed stamped envelope for them to return it. It's cost you $1.26 for each guest.
Wow.
So on that budget topic, if you've invited 100 people, it's over $100 just on stamps.
Wow. Wow.
So I think emailing now is pretty cool, but then again, if you want to stay traditional, the mail is the way to go.
Yeah, I would definitely go. I mean, and things about invitations. I mean, have you seen wedding invitation these days?
Yeah.
I mean, you can do the most basic, simple thing, or you can do something elaborate.
Yeah.
I mean, there's magnets. The last one, the one I was telling you about down in Destin.
Yeah.
It was a magnet. How cool is that?
That's
to put it on my refrigerator so I don't forget.
And you got Vistaprint.com. I'm sure they've got all tons of stuff. Yeah. Exactly. They're great, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, just so many options for the different types of RSVP.
I wonder if Vistaprint want to be a sponsor for our show.
Yeah.
Hey, Vistaprint, you got a free plug.
We just gave you a free plug, man. So, but no, great point. You got to have all that information to put on the invite to send it out.
Yep.
All right. Well, our next point is, now that we kind of done the formalities of picking the date and the budget and all that kind of good stuff, it's time to start thinking about hiring our wedding vendors.
Oh man, caterers, florists, DJ, band, bartenders, limo, videographers, officiants. Do I need to keep going? That's a long list.
That is a huge
that's just the top of the iceberg. This is a lot of work here, guys, but you've got to have most all these things covered. I mean, some things, if your Aunt Susie's going to bake the cake, that's cool. But there's probably 8 to 9 vendors to pull off a wedding that I can think of. Before you get into rental companies like chairs and tables and all that too, there's a lot to this. Yep. Use referrals from your friends or weddings you went to that you like what you saw. Because if you've never gotten married before, how do you pick a florist, really, truthfully? Flowers are flowers, right? Not really.
No.
There's artists and there's people that are very expensive or very affordable. Ask your friends that have been married. Who did you use? Your wedding was great. A, they love the compliment.
Sure.
And B, you're going to get some good advice.
Yeah, definitely. And, here's the thing about vendors, too. You can spend time, meet with them. You want to find the right vendor for you. You don't want to just pick one off of Google or whatever. You want to make sure it's the right fit for you. If it's in your budget, you want to read reviews. Like Michael said, again, you can go to the same wedding websites that you did for creating your website, like the Knot, the Wedding Wire. You can go on there, check out wedding reviews there. You can go to Facebook, you can go to Instagram.
Technology,
Google,
man, it's at our fingertips now.
All those things, at your fingertips. And like you said, recommendations are great. You're probably, if you're getting married, you're probably in the age where you have other friends that are getting married. So, it's good to kind of sit back when you're at their wedding and check out their vendors.
You're not going to be the first one to get married. How about that?
That's right.
There's always somebody before you.
Exactly.
And you can always ask them, what did you guys do? Who did you reach out to? And that's a good way to start. It really is.
And another good way, too, is usually in the wintertime and in the fall, you have bridal shows.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can go
Great idea.
one-stop shop and go and visit with all
Great
these vendors.
idea. I mean, if you go to a bridal show, like the Lake Murray Bridal Show that we do.
Yeah, that's in Columbia, South Carolina.
But think about it,
little plug.
all your wedding vendors are there and they want your business. So if you don't have a caterer pick, there's going to be 3 or 4 caterers there. I know we had at least 3 in every category, pretty much. So that's and they give out door prizes, and you get to see them face to face, and that's just, to me, no matter where you live, there are bridal shows. Trust me. Pay the $5 or whatever, $10 a ticket, and go to them.
Yeah, it's worth it.
It really is.
Another point, when you're picking your vendors, kind of goes with the wedding dress itself, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of an important thing, and the reason being is you're going to have to get it fitted. Well, you got to find what you like.
Yeah.
Which can take a while. You may have a local shop. You may have to go to a bigger city. And then you got to get it fitted, and that takes a while.
Yeah, and wedding dresses can be one of the most expensive things you purchase. And it's a very personal decision. Do you want it sexy? Do you want it conservative? Do you want it long flowing? Do you want it fitted, not fitted? That's all based on your body type and what you want. It's your day, it's your dress. But and I know you have to order these things. They don't just have them on the rack. So you got to get that done pretty early as well.
Yep, exactly.
And God knows if you take 3 women with you, we'll get 3 opinions on what looks good on you. So be careful who you take with you. Golly.
That's right. Another good point that you want to make sure that you do is hotel block. So if you do have, out of town guests coming, hotel block.
A lot of you guys don't know this. I was in the hotel business for a very short period of time. They'll do a hotel block where it doesn't cost you any money. So, hey, I'm having a wedding on these dates. I want to block off 10 rooms. And they'll put a block on those rooms. Don't charge you any money. They usually give your guests a reduced rate because they love getting room blocks. And like I said, I'd pick a moderately priced hotel and maybe a nicer hotel and give your guests the option of where they want to stay.
Yeah, definitely. Give them options, guys, because you never know what somebody's budget,
They could use this as a second honeymoon themselves. Think about if it's a couple, they leave their kids at home, and they're going to a cool city. Well, this is a chance for them to have the weekend together. They might even want to stay in a nice hotel.
They may want to stay longer.
They may want to, yeah.
Exactly. So another good thing.
I didn't want to leave St. Thomas when I went. I'll tell you that right now. Man, yeah, man.
That's right. So another thing that we have, we talked about the wedding dress. Now, how about the rest of the wedding party in their attire? And the groom, what does that look like?
You lead, they follow, man. You got to tell them what you want them to wear. The colors for the ladies, A trend now is they wear different dresses, same color, but to maximize their body type. Sometimes they wear different color dresses. The guys, you're going to have them in a tuxedo, a suit, a pair of khakis with a button-down shirt. You got to decide on this. But then again, that goes back to the theme of the wedding and the venue. So as you can see, we're building this as layers because one thing kind of leads to another.
Yep, and you can customize. One thing we were both at a wedding that we were at together, and I don't know if you remember or not, but all of the groomsmen on their sleeves, full sleeves.
Oh yeah.
They were custom. One groom had like $100 bills or dollar bills running down.
Yeah, I remember. And his last name was Cash. Remember?
Yeah. And then the rest of the groomsmen had like Superman,
or footballs. I do remember that. That was cool.
Yeah. So you can customize things, but again, that's going to take time. So that's why you need to build this into your timeline of if you're going to do something.
Exactly.
Like that.
Yeah.
So next point is wedding rings. Put
the ring
on it.
Yeah.
Like Beyonce says.
Yeah. You bought the diamond, the big boy. Now it's time to get the matching bands. Do you want to get black? Do you want silver? Sterling silver, gold. You got titanium. Do you want something kind of this is your personal stamp. Some couples get tattoos.
Yeah.
You definitely say you married forever if you get a tattoo, right? They get tattoos.
Careful with the tattoo.
Right?
That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, your ring's on the wrong finger. Now we're married the wrong woman. So you got to be careful with the tattoos. But some people do get tattoos. They get matching tattoos. Kind of cool.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things. But and sometimes they'll get their rings engraved on the inside.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, the wedding date, their name. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so you got a lot to. Again, that's customization, all that kind of stuff. It takes time to get that stuff. And with COVID, everything has taken longer than expected.
Yeah.
There's shortages, there's logistic problems, all that kind of stuff, guys. So again, we're trying to tell you in your timeline, think about these things because it could take way longer than what you're anticipating.
Yep.
I even saw something today on Facebook. Somebody was saying, hey, I need help getting a hold of a dry cleaner because my wedding dress was at the dry cleaners and they're getting married today. And they couldn't get to the dress.
Oh my gosh.
Again, think about these things, guys.
Wow.
Time. Think about, could you imagine? They're holding the dress hostage, and one of the comments on the Facebook thread was call 911.
That's crazy. Wow, and I didn't think about that.
Yeah, but again, it just goes to our point of you have to think
plan ahead.
Plan ahead. Things are going to take longer than what you expect.
Yep.
So you just remember that in your timeline.
Yep.
The next thing is our wedding day schedule.
Whew, this is a production. What time do the girls get to the venue? What time do the guys get there? What time? Now, then again, if you hire a wedding day of coordinator, they'll do this for you.
Sure.
And this is a lot to do. Getting hair and makeup done at 3. We're getting to you have to have a schedule.
No doubt.
You have to have the day. You start here, you end here. From coming in to the departure, it's got to be a timeline.
Yeah. It doesn't have. We're not saying every single second, every single minute.
But an idea.
You got what time's the photographer going to be there?
Mm-hmm.
So what time do I need to be in the dress?
Yeah.
So the photographer can take pictures. What time does my family need to be there for
what
pictures?
time's the DJ arriving? What time?
Setup.
We're getting married at 6. Okay, what time should the first dance be? Around about.
Right.
Sunset photos. Okay, that's going to be at 8:20. You got to plan this stuff out.
Caterer's got to know what time to drop the food.
Sure.
Exactly. What time they got to leave. Venue's going to have a time frame of when you can come in, when you got to leave.
Yeah.
So there's so many things to think about. When you're organizing your timeline for your wedding day. That brings us to our marriage license.
Gotta have it, don't you?
Yeah.
It's kind of important. I don't know the rule. I didn't do the research. I don't know the rules. You got to have it so many days in advance. I don't think it's a lot in advance.
Well, each state's a little bit different, too.
Yeah, each state is different.
So you definitely
but you better check with your municipality about how long you got to have this in advance because you don't want to go through all this and say, "Oops, sorry, and it's not legal."
It's not illegal.
I have done a couple that were not legal because they forgot it. It wasn't there in time.
And one thing too, you got to make sure is don't let your officiant run off after the ceremony without getting it signed.
Exactly.
Real important because again,
that's happened.
Legal.
Yeah, you're not legal till it's signed. That's exactly.
And you got to make sure the forms are sent to the right. The bride and groom get a copy, the state gets a copy, all that kind of stuff. You got to make sure it goes to the right place. On the form that the right spots on the form are filled out correctly. Yeah. There's a lot that goes into it, and it's something that we really overlook a lot with the marriage license.
Yeah.
So again, something that you want to start your research early, so that way you're well prepared ahead of time, and then, you don't run into any problems. Because you may need the marriage license to go on your honeymoon or something.
You might.
That. Who knows? But honeymoon makes up a good point.
Yeah.
What about the honeymoon?
This is a really, really touchy subject for me. I meet all my bride and grooms in advance as a DJ, and about 50% now are not doing a honeymoon. And I think because the honeymoon comes last, just like it is in our list, they don't budget for it, and the money's run out. So I just think it's critical. You spend all this time planning and stressing. You probably haven't seen each other that much the last, say, 2 weeks before the wedding. And I think it's important, whether you just go away for a night, do something.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to Europe for 2 weeks. And don't say we're doing it sometime next year. You're not going to, and it's not the same. You've been married for a year. You're going to be arguing by then. You won't be, that glow of the wedding and how magical everything is. So do something. Make sure you put aside enough money to take some kind of trip, to do something just spend time with your better half alone and enjoy each other's company.
Yep, I agree 100%. And one thing, if you need help with that, guys, travel agents are great resources.
Oh, yeah.
They've got deals they can help you out with. They can contact the hotel and let them know that, hey, that you just got married, and they may have special gifts for you.
Little goodie baskets for you, all kind of special things.
Have, wine.
Chocolates, wine. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And again, if you do the same thing on the destination wedding, use a travel planner because they can help you again with.
They're the experts.
Deals. They know this stuff.
They're the experts. They'll tell you, oh, you don't want to go there this time of year. Really? No. They'll guide you on where the good spots are. Yeah.
They'll help you out with that on the cost. They know the good, safe hotels. You hear in the news all the time. Mexico, things like that, where people went to a nice resort and something bad happened.
Don't leave the resort. Right. What do you mean? Don't go downtown. Right.
Exactly. And so these travel agents, they know these resorts. They've been there. They know the area. They know what's safe. All that kind of stuff, and they can provide you, with that insight that you
That's
need.
true.
Well, guys, we hope that you got some really good information from the timeline that we tried to help you build. If you need to, kind of pause and go back up if you need to and re-listen to something, you might need to do that. But a lot of great information there, and all of these topics, we'll be expanding on in future episodes because each one of these topics actually could be their own.
They could.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in to the Calling All Brides podcast. I am Joe Cirillo.
DJ Michael.
And we'll see you again soon.
Take care.